Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back for another slime video. And this is part 2 of the EX2 stage of Beatdown Battle. Part 1 went up probably yesterday. I don't know what order I'm uploading these and what days. But that had 4 teams that were pretty damn viable versus EX2, which is the final stage you need to get Rieger's dupe, and then you just start farming currency. Inferno stages are going to be a lot more difficult. I'll have videos of that going up later. I don't know when, but they'll happen later. A lot of stuff to cover right now. But again, this stage is an AoE focused thing. Hakuro is buffing damage, Gopt is nerfing greens, Yom is buffing resistances. The field starts with 2 oranges, 4 blues. Not that that really matters for half the teams. And this is just going to be part 2. So this is going to be, I think, 4 more teams that can clear EX2. So I'm giving you a lot of options to clear EX2 and get Rieger maxed out, because the stage, honestly, EX2, not that difficult unless you're a brand spanking new player and you have no teams to make. That's a different story. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the next 4. Alright, so we're going to start off with using everyone's favorite Valor Cup unit, Summer Millum. We've got her own protector, Summer Trainee. We've got, again, EX Guy, because he's giving Millum physical, physical allies crit, which Millum is physical, and the alt buff. We've got Wind Trainee, who is here for her alt gauge rush if we need it, and also the protection gauge in the first couple of turns. Free-to-play Rieger is the reason why we're even fucking here. Fount of Wisdom Rimuru is going to give that massive physical buff to Millum, and Millum herself can steal blue orbs, which we're going to have a lot of, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blue orb changers on the team. Count it. Plus, Trainee is guaranteeing future hands of blues, so we only really need blue orb changers for like turn 2, and then Trainee will take over after that. So Millum can steal those blues, and she has that actually decently for cheap cost, attack and dark attack skill. And again, because this EX2 stage doesn't have that much health, between the power of Millum's small buff, Guy's big time buff, Rimuru's big time buff, and the defense down that we're going to get from Trainee, which just kind of helps out, we will definitely have enough to kill. Rieger will handle turn 1. We also have an alt swapper, because Rieger is good. Rieger is good. So here, we're going to leave Millum in the back, because I don't want that physical nerf that they put on us on turn 1. I want her to be full power. So she's not going to come in until turn 2. These people, fine. I mean, it doesn't affect Trainee at all, because she's magic. But Guy is not the point here. Yes, he's type advantage. Doesn't really matter all that much. Yes, Trainee is type disadvantage, but they don't hit us that hard, and she's not going to be up front anymore pretty much past this point, because we have a pretty good hand right here. We could just convert. Trainee gives you 40 skill points, along with guaranteeing the next hand is blue. So even if we didn't have enough points, we could just use Trainee and we'll get it all back. But we're actually going to play into that orange orb, steal all the other blues. Millum comes in, and now she's got a full hand. 40 points, we've got guaranteed blues now coming in. We've got her alt, which is good, and we have an alt swapper in Rieger, so we don't need to worry about that, because we're going to go for the EX alt on Millum, and we'll just concentrate down. So there we go. And now we're never going to not have blue orbs, because we're just going to use Trainee over and over and over. So we have so much converting to handle almost any scenario for turn 2, and that eliminates just a literal butt ton of RNG. Like, this is probably the least amount of RNG team you could ever have, because it's you convert with Rimuru, you convert with Rieger, with Wind Trainee, with Guy, you steal orbs with Millum if it comes out right. You're guaranteeing blue orbs. Like, this is a brain dead team, but it works really well. So we're going to, again, steal the orbs, which we did. We're going to use the attack buff because it lasts for 2 turns, and this will get us the EX alt for Millum, plus 100 points, plus a double use of Trainee, which is a guaranteed 80 points. So we now have enough to use both Fount of Wisdom Rimuru and EX Guy's buff, and we've already used Millum's buff. And even if we didn't, we would have enough points to do it, right? Because we only need 175, right, to use it in one turn, but we've used Millum early, so we don't need that. So boom, defense down, 40 points. We've used Rimuru's buff. We'll bring Guy in, and then we'll use the other Trainee, and then we'll get everything else. So, and we'll get this Trainee in for funsies. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't know why I did that. We could have just nuked. I'm actually quite shocked that I did that. I must have been drunk. We could have nuked on turn 4 and it would have been fine. Just heads up there. We didn't need to swap Milim out. I don't know what I was thinking. We had another trainee. I don't know why I didn't use her and then just use Guy's buff. Alright, well, sorry. We're gonna nuke here now. Man, what the fuck was I doing? Alright, well there's your misplay of the day for me. I always have to have at least one in a video, right? So, boom. We're using trainee now, I guess, for the defense down. And then we'll nuke. Nothing changed between this turn and last turn. But Milim does 235. Plenty of damage, which she would have done again last turn if I wasn't such a friggin' idiot. So there we go. Summer Milim nukes him down. Shock Surprise, still a fantastic AoE character. Let's move on. Alright, it's time to really brute force. Really brute force this meta. So we've got New Year's Blessing. Xion gives physical allies guaranteed crit, which we want, and guaranteed synergy, which technically we don't want, but we can't really not get it because she gives both at the same time. The enemies have synergy resistance, so by doing that, you're kind of nerfing yourself, but we're going to offset that by just doing enough damage anyway. So, along with Xion, we've got New Year's Rimuru for the Rainbow Orbs. We've got Rieger, free-to-play unit, also an alt swapper. Good, and he's got the turn 1 orb change, which is really important. Carnation Shinsha is going to be our primary damage support alongside 2nd Anniversary Hinata. So Hinata's got the Future Hand of Oranges, she's got the Element buff. Shinsha has the single alt swap to orange and the physical allies alt and crit damage. And then we've got the Master Hero 2.0. Why her? Because I got her to 120 and I kind of wanted to use her. And also, normally the Blessing team has Milim as the AoE character, who is type Disadvantage. Yeah, it doesn't work. I tried to use Milim, she does shit for damage. So don't use Milim. So the hero is an AoE character, is physical, so she'll still get the guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy. And she also has that resistance down skill, 50% element down, and also 50% orb damage up for normal orbs. So I figured she would be a reasonable unit to bring. If you have any other physical AoE character, like you could put Summer Milim on this team and she would work fine. Like you totally could. There's nothing wrong with that. You can mix and match, use what you can. Shinsha is kind of important because she's got that 55-point buff that's doing a lot. But there are other ways to play around this. You could just bring somebody else who's going to give a decent amount of physical support. You could bring Fountain Wisdom Rimuru or something. That'll work. So we're going to send this. Again, the hero is going to be in the back on turn 1 because we don't want that physical nerf. But turn 2, we're really going to let it go because we have either Rimuru for the Rainbow Orbs. We can really make use of that. And we have almost a double use of Xion, which is guaranteed oranges as long as we don't have a terrible hand. Which we don't. We have 3 Hinata Orbs, which is enough, which is good. So we'll bring the hero in for her. Boom. We're not going to use the Rainbow Orbs for Rimuru just yet. We're going to use that for something else in case we really need it. We are going to use the Future Hand of Oranges from Hinata. That way we don't have to keep using Xion over and over because oranges do not cycle very well. Unfortunately, that's just an inherent problem that oranges have. So the less we have to use Xion, the easier it's going to be. And if we can guarantee an entire hand of oranges next turn, that helps us out a lot because it helps us get more alt gauge. So we're going to send the 6. Rimuru and the hero are both not nerfed by the physical buff. Or the physical nerf. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying now. But we do get this. So we have the ability to swap out Rimuru and then use the single alt swap with Shinsha. Or we do both alt swaps, right? Boom and boom. And then we could just use Xion again. It'd be kind of funky if we did that. It is what it is, but the hero technically does have an alt swap. It goes to a green orb, so it's not super great, but it's something we can do. And because we have a decent amount of protection gauge, we could probably actually just send this and call it a day. So we're going to use Xion, because we're going to get it back next turn. This will get the hero's EX ult and Rimuru's EX ult as long as I leave them in, which we swap Shinsha out. All right, that's fine. So now we're going to spread the damage. Now we're going to do guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy against everybody. And, 4,000 damage. It'd be higher if they didn't have that resistance. We pierced there, so it really nerfed us down. And 12,000 on that hit. Fairly good damage. And, I mean, look at this hand. This hand looks great. But this is what I was saving the rainbow orbs for in case something like this happened. But we have enough damage now anyways. We have 160 points because we didn't use anything last turn except 2 free skills, like 2 0-cost skills. So we were able to stay at that 130 cap, and then she gave us another 30. So now we have enough to use pretty much everything. The element buff, the Shinsha buff, the Rimuru attack buff, and the hero debuff. And now we'll send the hero after we use Shion, and if anybody is left over, Rimuru can clean up, because he's got even more buffs than what the hero has, essentially, because he's got that personal attack buff. And the orbs are going to do extra damage. But it's unnecessary, because the hero does 186. So there we go. You can brute force it. You can play against the team, against their total buff with that extra synergy, and you can still come out on top, because that's just how good New Year's Blessing Shion is. So there's a brute force team. Let's move on. Alright, so I think at the beginning of the video I said 4 teams, and then I put a caption in there during edits that it's 3. This is the third and final team of this video. A stacking team. Again, focused on that free Dark Rimuru that we just got. Fount of Wisdom Diablo, the very first EX protector, so, I mean, he's quite old now for a gacha game. We've got Space Rimuru, who is skill fused, so he's getting not only the 40% attack buff, but he's also putting a 30% ult resistance down. We've got Water Rimuru for the green orbs. We've got Rieger, again, for the ult swap and oranges. And then we've got Water Shuna for more orange converting and the ult buff. So this team is just going to stack for a while. It's nothing really overly special. We're going to go right up until the very edge of where they decide to nuke us, which I think is turn 6. And then we'll just pray that between all the ult resistance down, we're stacking with Diablo already, we're going to have enough power with the guaranteed crits and crit damage from Dark Rimuru and the attack buff and the ult buff that we can just wipe them out. Because again, they don't have that much HP. So while we stack some blue orbs, I can just kind of go over. I thought about using the idle team here. I mean, if you have access to it, would probably certainly work. You just need to bring a lot of green supports to help buff the greens up for a number of turns, but I mean, if you can build an idle team, you literally can't die, so it doesn't matter what the hell they do to you. And eventually that green debuff does run out. I think it's like 7 turns or something, so you have to go to turn 8 to actually redo that. Okay, so this is even a dead run, so I'm just talking out my ass anyways, so let me find where we need to start. Okay, we're here anyways. So the idle team can certainly do it. We did the vengeance team. Those are both defensively focused. Pretty much any decent AoE team, whether it be a little bit of stacking or whether it be a burst team, you can mix and match some of these teams that I've shown off between the 2 videos. Like, you could put Summer Milim on New Year's Blessing. You could put EX Mirin with Exalted Champion Velzard. Like, things work. You just have to use your head and play around with the units that you have personally in your own box. Like, these videos are good suggestions, and it's supposed to give people ideas of what can work. Just like my Jubilee videos. Like, you may not be able to run, essentially, everything that I show off, but as long as you understand the concept of the team, you can then make it work with what you have. Or maybe you don't, because you don't have jack shit. And then you're just shit out of luck, which is also, perfectly could be the case. But here, we're just stacking. We are just stacking with Diablo. We're getting an ult for at least Dark Rimuru. If you want to get an ult for Space Rimuru as well, because your team just lacks good attack gear, also certainly an option. They do have physical resistance, but as long as Space Rimuru doesn't have that debuff on, he can still do, an okay amount of damage as more of a support role for Anniversary Rimuru, who's got, the crit damage, because Space Rimuru is not dark, so he's not going to get it. Unless your Dark Rimuru is skill fused, and then Space Rimuru is on Tempest Fleet, and then he will get that crit damage. But I'm assuming that a lot of people don't have Dark Rimuru skill fused, they're just going to use that free copy. So in that case, Space Rimuru would not get the crit damage buff. But here, oh my god, more orb changing. Who'da thunk? Now we'll bring Shuna in and use hers. And we have, Dark Rimuru's out, so cool. Convert there. We'll continue to send orbs. We'll continue to stack up. We'll put some defense on, because Rimuru has a defense skill, and they have their physical buff and pierce. They can do a lot of damage here if you're unprepared and you're lowered level. So yeah, we guarded that, and it still did 1900 damage. So if we didn't guard that, that would have done, almost 4k right there. So 3000, 24, 24, 31. So yeah, they can do damage to you in EX2 if you let them. Right? If you let them, and if your team is underpowered. Like, I would consider this team very underpowered. These are not new units by any means. The only EX character on this team is Diablo, who is questionable at this point in the game. But we've got, free-to-play Water Rimuru, free-to-play Rieger. We got Dark Rimuru for free. Shuna is fucking old as crap. Space Rimuru is an OG release character. So we're on turn 4. We now have the Dark Rimuru ult. He doesn't need an EX ult because he's not an EX character. So we can just go ahead and safely store him in the back. We also have a Shuna ult, which, she is magic. And if we happen to not kill somebody, she can follow up and tap them with her ult, and they will die. Because she'll have the attack buff, she'll have the ult buff, and she'll at least have guaranteed crits. She's not going to get the crit damage from Dark Rimuru, but she will get the guaranteed 100% crit rate. So boom, there we go. We'll swap Rieger in now. He's got the double ult swap. This is what makes him a fantastic free-to-play option, because you can put him on any blue team, and he will work efficiently. He will work fantastically, and that's why I always rave about characters who do not have skill restrictions. Right? They went through that huge batch of free-to-play characters where they are nothing but skill-restricted. Ranga, Misery, who else was it? Nabe, right? They had restrictions on their orb changes, and I think that's just absolutely god-awful. Gobta, Templey Gobta, excellent unit. Why? Because he can change greens to blues, and he has a single ult swap. Rieger, fantastic, because he's got a double orb change and a double ult swap. Right? They're just, two sides of the same coin. They change two different types of orbs, and they both have orb converts, and they can go on any blue team. It's so fantastic. It's so great. But now we're on turn 6. Shuna is actually looking a little low. So this is the turn that we have to nuke here. So we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we have power enough to take care of everything. So ult buff, crit buff, attack buff, and the ult resistance down. We have 85 points left over, which means that we can use Water Rimuru's buff. We can't use the ult's yoink from Dark Rimuru, which it would only yoink one, and it would yoink Yome's ult, which I guess would help. But then if Gobta and Hakura decide to just single target nuke somebody, they'll probably die. So we'll send Rimuru first, and then we'll follow up. Rimuru, with all these buffs, does 147, and it's enough to kill everybody but Hakuro, but then Shuna comes and follows up with 223k, single target. And there we go. There are 3 more teams that can take on EX2 of the Beatdown Battle to get the free dupe of Rieger. If you have any other team suggestions, let me know in the comments, that way other people can see that. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.